being exposed, exposing myself, welcoming others to see my ugliness, my deepest, darkest fears, my deepest, darkest secrets. And it sets me free. Hello and welcome to another video, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. There's something very, very crucial that I'd like to speak about today. And this is the times we're in, moving into 5D consciousness, unlocking our spiritual abilities and gifts, telepathy, claircognizance, clairsentience, clair everything, remembering past lives, experiencing bodily sensations that are unpleasant, like all the things that happen when our consciousness begins expanding. We're experiencing Kundalini awakenings, our third eye is opening, and we're beginning to see. We have a greater reach, and things become very uncomfortable, and I assure you that no matter where you are on your journey of awakening and, waking up to your true nature, we always want to retreat back with the comfort movies and the comfort foods and, just kind of cuddle up on the couch. And that's perfectly normal and good to do. I suggest doing that, but I also suggest embracing the changes so that you're able to integrate this truth now that we're waking up to into your body and into your reality. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. The faster the better. You don't want to elongate it any more than what you should for your own benefit. So, point number one that I want to emphasize is we are in New Earth consciousness now, where we are being exposed on a psychic level with the people around us, with the people that we're close to, that we're intimately connected with, that we have soul connections with, and our deepest, darkest secrets and the darkest, hidden corners of our soul are being exposed to one another. And this is why it's so challenging and painful, because we don't want to see that within ourselves. That's funny. There was a time where, as technology advanced throughout the decades, we began to feel like we're losing a sense of privacy due to satellites and then security cameras and eventually smartphones. Well, now it's telepathy and spiritual abilities, and being in the age of Aquarius now, which is the mind. It's the collective mind body. So, and it's funny because so many people around me have always, I put tape over my cell phone or my computer camera, and I never cared. I never did. I never cared. And you know what? That's probably why that I have such an easy time being exposed, exposing myself, welcoming others to see my ugliness, my deepest, darkest fears, my deepest, darkest secrets. It's exhilarating to me. It's exciting. It's liberating. It's freeing. I'm like, yes, please see me for all that I am, and it sets me free, and it just makes me feel sexy, truth be told. So I encourage you to number one, go at it with this approach. Because if someone like me is so open and willing to expose themselves and be like, this is my ugly truth, you better believe someone like me is also welcoming and embracing every single walk of life, no matter what they've ever done. Crucial point number two that I must emphasize. What we experience and see in another person, and we have to continue reminding ourselves of this throughout the journey, every day. And this all brings us back to the annoyance of like, I just want life to be the way that it used to be. I just want things to go back to the way that they were. That's what your ego thinks. That's what the soft side in you thinks. But the soul in you is like, yes, give me more. Give me more of this connection. Give me more of this air energy, of this deep inner knowing. Now, what we see in another person is a direct reflection of what we have in ourselves. If we are feeling trapped by another person, for example, that literally means that within you, you're not letting yourself open up and be free. If we feel annoyed by another person, there's something within us that we are not allowing to be expressed or brought into the light, etc., etc. I encourage you to analyze your feelings and emotions around other people and go deep into the psychology of shadow work and who you are in relation to others and the world around you. This is a painful time, I'm not gonna lie. This is a painful time where we have to take a deep, deep look within ourselves. And we all have to do it. And if we have soul connections going on, like higher self counterparts, and we're, kind of connecting the dots, how it's allowing us to heal through each other. And because of these soul connections and this time that we all signed up for, by the way, before we came here, there's no evading or escaping it. And that's all part of the harsh truth that we need to accept and understand. I assure you, not one of us entered into this thinking, oh yeah, cool, let's go and experience the absolute worst and ugliest of who we are and then share that with everyone around us because we love that. None of us went into any of this thinking that. But it doesn't have to be so hard, and it doesn't have to be so frustrating, and it doesn't have to have victim mentality. When we take personal responsibility and remember that all of life around us is a sacred mirror to something deep, deep within ourselves, that's the key to our personal individual freedom. I cannot emphasize this enough, especially at this time. While none of us knows what the future holds or, where our lives are going to take us, I fully embrace this time. I accept the painful truth that's being reflected within me, and I'm using it to empower me. I'm using it to refine the way that I handle myself, how I respond to situations, how I present myself to the world, who I truly am, what I really stand for, how I can be the best that I can be. And that's precisely what the time of connecting the collective consciousness network is doing. It's allowing us to take a deep look within in order to clean up the messiness and awaken some more of our true nature. It's not about anything outside of us. It's not about learning anything we didn't already know on a deep soul level. This is all within us. It's all about taking personal responsibility and recognizing the divine truth of the matter. And it's beautiful. Oh my gosh. It's just delicious, really, is what it is. Once you get past the fear and the victim mentality and the discomfort of all of these huge, huge changes that are occurring on an individual level and on the collective scale as well. Years from now, we're all going to look back at this time. And while our lives are now at this time changing forever, and first of all, let me finish what I was just saying. We're gonna look back and we're gonna laugh at this. Before we even transcend, we're gonna be laughing at this time because of how bizarro it is for all of us. Now I have to remember what I was going to say. Oh, right. Because our lives are changing so much at this time, and we're feeling Mother Earth within us, and we're feeling one another within us, and we're awakening to our superhuman abilities and our spiritual gifts and power as divine creators. This is a gift. Embrace this gift and harness it and think, oh my gosh, the world is changing, my life is changing, the world as I knew it is falling away from around me. It's hard for me to handle. I don't know what's going on. Why is this happening? Focus all of that stressful energy and that fear and the victim mentality, all that energy being focused on that side of the tracks, to the other side, where we're thinking, how can I use this to my advantage? Now where is my life taking me? Where am I going? What are the relationships and the connections and the creations now that I'm going to be creating through this knowledge that I'm gaining, this higher wisdom truth that I'm now acquiring? How can I use this to benefit not only myself, but the world? This is a game-changing time for all of us. It's not easy, but it's gifting to each and every one of us. It's not about another person. Though we have to learn it through other people, it's really about ourselves, our relationship with ourselves. And this year is a great year of relationships, beginning with yourself, because what we have within is what is reflected out. The level of consciousness that you currently operate from and your subconscious programming is how you perceive, experience, and give back to the world around you. Period. When your level of consciousness raises, like if you're in victim mentality, you're really going to perceive everything as like you're going to be annoyed, you're going to feel targeted, you're going to have fear. When you rise up to the divine truth that transcends the lower frequencies, you realize that everything is a mirror being gifted to you for your advantage, and so that you can refine who you are and become the best that you can possibly be. And a lot of times we operate in both of these simultaneously, but probably initially when we have awakenings, we shift back and forth. But then we tend to operate in a lot of the dimensions simultaneously. A lot of the levels and states of consciousness simultaneously, because we do have to survive. We have to have our survival mechanisms intact in order to navigate through the world and be able to make the most appropriate choices in the moment. But we also want to maintain that feminine energy and wisdom of, unity consciousness and higher wisdom. They have to work together. This is divine union. This is the yin and the yang. This is the masculine and feminine energy that we're coming into union individually with. It's a process. Again, it's a mystical, energetic process that transcends the logic of the human mind, but we see it occurring on many different fractal scales throughout the universe. It's a energetic, mystical process. So it has nothing to do with who you are. And the higher wisdom plan does not care about our feelings, our opinions, our victim mentality. And the higher wisdom plan also knows what's best beyond all of those, just like I said. For example, as someone who has a twin flame, who has many, many, many higher self counterparts and soul connections, sacred soul connections, beautiful. Just for example, like, I won't get into the whole long drawn out story of my twin flame and I, but I will say that when we were in spiritual union in 2020, when we were experiencing the Kundalini awakening, I believed and felt and knew that we were going to spend our life together. And this has, on some degree, occurred with most every sacred soul connection that I've had as I've been healing my childhood trauma and my wounds around abandonment and unworthiness and all this sort of thing. Literally, I could see, sense, and perceive the future with these people. And some of them are so strong, and this is extremely rare, but some of them are so strong that we can actually feel them physically. And, other things like this. There's different levels and intensities with all of our soul connections. And they all reflect, a kind of certain thing within us that either needs to be magnified and strengthened in a good way, or, needs to be kind of changed and rearranged and reevaluated and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is that even though we can sense and believe and know and feel in every fiber of our body what our future is going to look like, and that this is right and this is correct and this is for the highest good of all, we tend to think, because of the level of love and unity that we feel within, it may not be the higher wisdom plan. It goes so far beyond. That's on a spirit level, and your spirit body is the wisest of all. But each and every one is teaching us a lesson that we needed to learn in order to execute the higher wisdom plan. It's about personal responsibility and realizing that you are your savior. You are the light at the end of your tunnel. And the way to bring that to life, that's already within you. That level of fulfillment, magic, and love is within you already, waiting for you to become it. Now, how do I become that, you ask? You live your truth. You express your emotions creatively in a way that empowers you, and you remain true to your life experiences without trying to shut or block anything off, without trying to run or evade from, which brings me back to wanting to run and evade from certain soul connections and certain people that, we feel like we're being spiritually attacked from. That has nothing to do with that other person and everything to do with you. It's something within you that you're trying to run from and evade, not that other person. Again, this is law. This is universal energetic law that you cannot escape from. The answer is within you. The answer is within each and every one of us. So in order to reach that level of fulfillment and magic and wonder, where we're no longer feeling like a victim and we no longer are struggling with these feelings of like envy and frustration and hate and like all this other negative karma, is to live as truly and authentically to yourself as you possibly can, without trying to put on an act, without being a fake and a phony. Again, this is about becoming extremely vulnerable and transparent and being okay with other people seeing your darkness and your ugliness and not needing to pretend you're hiding from it, even though they know you're trying to hide from it. We're in this time where we see deep, deep, deep within each other, and we don't even need to see each other with our eyes to see this and know this. So I hope that I can be of encouragement and inspiration and giving you empowerment and being able to embrace and accept the ugliest parts of yourself, the most painful parts of yourself, the most embarrassing, raunchy, trifling parts of yourself that you don't even want to see, let alone anyone else. We're in this together, and it really truly is. It's not an attack. It's not about killing and destroying. What's being killed and destroyed is that fear. The wicked is being killed and destroyed. It's the fear, it's the shame, it's the guilt. Let go of that and you're free. I'm so honored and delighted to be here and sharing this message with you today. And I truly hope that this helps you in some great way. Accept and love yourself and have unconditional compassion for yourself like never before. I look really forward to this year and where it takes us individually and together. Thank you all.